Welcome to Home Brew by J.W. Martin Real Estate, where we uncover the true stories of what's brewing in South Carolina's local business scene. I'm Joey Martin, and each week we sit down with the ones who are pushing through the grind. Business owners, creators, and community leaders who have fought through the tough times and come out stronger. No fluff, just real stories, smart insights, and a whole lot of lessons learned the hard way. Let's dive in. Today, we're doing something a little unique. As you guys know, I'm the owner of J.W. Martin Real Estate, and one of my agents, someone who's a really close friend of mine. And let's welcome to the show, Mr. Justin Smith.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Justin, it's been an interesting career path for you in real estate. We originally met, jokingly, we say that we met through Tinder.
That's right.
And we'll explain that further.
Man.
But Justin came here to the area from Franklin, North Carolina, in the pursuit of love. Not me on Tinder, I promise. I'm happily in a relationship.
Yeah.
But he came down here in the pursuit of love, and that didn't work out. But that's where he and I met. He used to come to a restaurant that I used to own, and he came there with his girlfriend at the time, which there again didn't work out. But we met, and
10 years later.
10 years later, here we are.
Yep.
And so to talk a little bit about that, Justin, I used to try to, with Justin's personality, he's got a very magnetic personality. And he comes from a sports background, which is also, I consider that a big plus when it comes to recruiting real estate agents. And so I was hounding him about getting into real estate and recruiting him. And he kind of thought real estate was cheesy at the time, but tell the story, Justin.
That was super funny, man. I was working down here on some contract jobs for security companies. And so, of course, I was bored in a hotel room and decided I want to go out and meet some people. So I fired up Tinder, and I met a girl, and she said, "Hey, I go to this really cool little bar in Central South Carolina." And I was like, "What's the name of it?" And at the time, it was called the Red Minnow. It was the Minnow Bucket, but everybody called it the Minnow. And so I met her, went down there, and she introduced me to a bunch of people, and Joey was one of those folks. And I started coming back in and out of town to come see her as I was working jobs down here. And man, Joe was like, "Dude, you should quit doing what you're doing. Get out of the security business and go and do real estate." And I told him, I was like, "Bro, I've been around a lot of those folks, and they're all pretty cheesy. I don't think that's me." And he said, "I'll tell you what, if you think I'm cheesy, just ride around with me for a week. If you think I'm cheesy, I'll never bother you about it again." And about at the end of that week, I decided I was going to go take my real estate license. And that was probably close to 10 years ago. I got licensed in 2016 officially, but I moved down here in 2015, probably August. So it was pretty dang close to 10 years ago. But yeah, man, been working with Joey ever since, and been awesome.
Yeah, but absolutely. Justin, I'll say your career path has gone, when you first started, you were bartending first, real estate second.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people who just get started in real estate probably go through some of the same struggles.
Yeah.
Which was, you were in the service industry and making good money.
Yeah.
Bartending, you'll make a few $100s a night.
Yeah.
Here in a college town. And so you were kind of service industry first and real estate second.
Yeah.
And so I kept on them about, you need to get out of this service industry world and focus full time in real estate, man. If you focus full time in real estate, you could leave the service industry world behind. And that kind of went on for a few years.
Yeah.
What do you say?
Yeah, I'd say probably I was working at the bar you owned after we did the transfer to 22 Below. And then I ended up going and working at TD's downtown in Clemson. And then I had the opportunity to work with Mark Winters over at Pub Blue Marble Deli, which he's a fantastic chef, does a really good job. And I've been a front of the house guy for a long time, but I knew it drove you nuts because every time I'd turn around, I'd be like, "Man, I can't go to this 8 a.m. meeting because I got done bartending at 2 a.m. And then by the time I got done cleaning up, it was 4 a.m. And so that, just the lifestyle of that's just super tough to combine with real estate unless you're very practiced at it. And that very little sleep, very little time for yourself. So I definitely underachieved for a long time. But I'll tell you the only thing I'd count it as being a blessing was the amount of people that I got to meet along the way And that's really been my progression into the clientele base that I have. Most of these people I met sitting at a bar 8, 9 years ago, and now come full circle. Now they're investors and they own farms that I've helped them purchase, things like that. So it's been a lot of fun, man. But yeah, I certainly, think I probably went full time just real estate probably 4 years ago. Before that, I was still juggling both. And I just got to the point where I was like, man, I got to sell out to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Yeah. I know that used to drive you nuts.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Without question.
Yeah.
I could remember one night in the back streets, and Justin and I are both big guys.
Yeah.
And we're close friends. So we're able to talk pretty openly with
Yeah.
one another. And so I was telling him, like, come on, man, leave this bartending stuff behind, man. Come work full time, man. You make so much more money and you be so much happier and get so much more fulfillment out of it. And it didn't sound quite that charming that night.
Yeah.
And he got a little argumentative, and I swear that like the whole place stopped. And I think they thought it was going to be Kong versus Godzilla, but it was never a risk of that.
No.
But it certainly could have appeared that way.
Yeah. It just, everyone was looking at it. I remember the bartender behind the bar, he'd been there for a long time, and he just puts his hands on the bar. Man, you guys going to be okay? I was like, yeah, bro, we're fine. We're talking. And I kind of looked around the bar and everybody was leaning on their pool sticks and leaning up again to see if they needed to split or not when we get with, but it was super funny. But yeah, man, the constant argument that I had and the problem that I was having at the time is I didn't know how to plan for that next step. And I was like, man, if I can just catch a break, I'll have enough money to not be able to have to worry about paying my bills for 6 months. If I can catch this break, if I can sell one more house while I'm doing this, then it'll make sense. And quite frankly, there's a point where that's all well and good, but sometimes you just got to take the leap, man. And that's what eventually I had to do. I got to the point where you had just talked enough junk to me to be like, hey, this stop, bro. Stop. Like you're missing so many opportunities to build great relationships with people. Just jump in. And I promise you, and 4 years later, I was knocked it out of the park all those 4 years. I had pretty big years. And so it's been interesting. But yeah, I know I've been the biggest pain in the butt along the way.
It's definitely, you have been a big pain in the butt.
Yeah, I know.
But one of the most rewarding things in my position is, and it's my why these days is, I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years now. And really when I have the opportunity to see someone evolve and grow, and when I listen to him give responses back to clients, that's exactly what I would have said. And sometimes I'm like, that's better than what I would have said. And so I'm like, I got to steal some of his material.
Yeah.
And that's very rewarding as a business owner, as a broker, as a friend to see your progress. I had somebody tell me one time, Joey, watching your career unfold has been fun to watch. And I would say the same thing about you, is watching your career path has been not all the time, but it has been fun to watch you evolve into the agent that you've become. And now you're able to start paying that forward to other new agents as well.
Man, I'll say that has probably been don't get me wrong, it drives me nuts sometimes. I know I saw you starting to go to the next levels and want to get more into the investment side and development and things like that. And I knew that you were still handling all sides of it. And you don't give up things very easy, but when you do, they sure come full force. But so I said, man, I'd love to try to eventually be a broker one day, maybe take a brokerage of JW Martin Real Estate somewhere else. And so this is my training as I get to try to help manage a lot of these agents. And we've changed strategies on that too, as far as you have some agents in our office that have really wanted to step up and be those people too. So they have small teams that they help manage. And it's been super rewarding, man, just seeing the brand new agent who knows absolutely nothing. And then now one of those guys like Isaiah, he's a great example. That dude called me 38 times a day when he first started. Now he's sitting there too. So I'm getting to see that 2-3 years in to starting that journey too. But man, it's been really cool. And also just seeing, man, good people doing good things. That's and doing it the right way. Like I know like our core values are constantly talking about, man, do what's right no matter if it's good for you, right? If it's right, then make that end of it, and doing it not for just trying to run up the score, but creating that community and relationship and helping people where it is needed has been a huge part of it too, man. So been a huge blessing to get to be a participant in some of the leadership side too. And I hope to continue doing more of that as we continue to grow. So yeah, man, been a great time.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. It's been a wild ride because Justin actually, when he came on board, it was just
I think there was 5.
maybe 5, and so it was very early on in the company's growth, and still just flying by the seat of our pants. And so he's been along for the ride as the company has evolved and started to learn more about systems and processes and the importance of standard operating procedures and things like that. Because none of that stuff was in place. It was just, you need some training, jump in the car with me.
Yeah.
And you ride along to a listing appointment and ride along to a showing or whatever the case may be. I would just say, jump in the car with me.
Yeah.
And as the company evolves and grows, you can't be in 30 cars at the same time. So now I actually get to see you riding along in the car and people shadowing you and learning from you. It's neat to see that. And that's really, you could read a book on the mixed martial arts. That doesn't mean you can go
Yeah.
jump in a cage fight, right? Because you get
You're gonna
destroyed,
get your tail kicked. Yeah.
right? So you can read a book on as much real estate as you'd like. It doesn't mean you're prepared to go out and sell a home or list a home. You just have to see it done a few times. And then you have to get yourself out there, get out there yourself and try it a few times based on what you've seen. And I always suggest, and one of the good things that I was blessed with when I first started in real estate was I had 24 teammates. And we had a presentation room back then. And there was a little corner that you could hide in and not be seen while presentations were going on. And I would hide back there and listen to 24 people do presentations. And I would say, oh, I like that. And I would jot it down or that just doesn't roll off my tongue just right. I won't be using that one. But eventually I pieced together a pretty good presentation that was my own. And so I always suggest to new agents, don't just ride along with me, ride along with as many as you possibly can and just hear different styles because everybody has their own unique style to this business. And so it's good for our new agents to be able to ride along with you and Leo and some of the other more experienced agents, Paula, as anyone that's, and for the most part on our team, everyone's willing to lend a hand and help out.
Oh yeah.
People right along. Got a pretty cool thing going on.
Yeah. The culture, man, has been super cool to watch grow. There's always growing pains and there's always going to be little dits and dats that need to be touched up. But overwhelmingly, man, I think the ability for people around us to just pour out into other people and really give back what they've learned and be willing to, this job is just high level problem solving. You have 1,000 different things that happen during a transaction. Half of them are going to go wrong. And there's probably way too many answers that won't work and just one that will work to solve the problem. So it's just figuring out which one of those works. And a lot of that, it's just brainstorming and spending time around people that you can talk about that kind of solution with. And I think we do that very well as a team. And also the other end of it is just the authenticity side, man. Like I feel like it's a good place to be you. I don't look like the typical real estate guy. I don't wear suits. The whole slogan, it's funny. It's just boots, not suits. I remember pulling up to a house and it was a pretty elevated priced home lake house that was over a couple $1,000,000. And I remember the guy looking at me and telling me that, hey brother, if I would have came to sell a $2 million house, I'd have probably put a suit on. And I said, the guy in a suit's probably not going to crawl in your crawl space and see if it's worth a dang before you buy it. But there's different ways to skin a cat, and this is how I do it. So I'm just the authenticity side. I know there's any other people out there that are younger starting in this business. I struggled with that for a long time, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. And I figured out if you just go where the squares are, you'll fit just fine.
Yeah. On the authenticity side, I think I've probably told people not to buy just as many homes as I've suggested that they move forward.
Yeah.
Just because it's got to pass the sleep at night test.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be out here suggesting people buy homes that are going to fall apart on them, or I'm just not capable of it. Just can't do it.
That was super interesting. I remember there was a particular gal. She's still one of my really close friends. And we were it was her first home in South Carolina. And we were walking through a bunch of different homes, found one that she just loved. It was the cutest thing she'd ever seen in her life. And I walked outside and I saw a ridiculous amount of settling and like an exterior portion of the crawl space. There was a lot of problems with
Yeah.
this house, and the people that were selling it, it was going to be a short sale for these people. So I knew they didn't have a lot of money to throw at the problem either. And I told her, I was like, hey man, like this is a terrible plan. Let's not do this. And she was so angry at me for
Yeah.
about 2 hours. She stormed off. Like I had to shut the door on the showing. And sure enough, a couple hours later, she called me and said, thanks. I appreciate it. But it was a long process to find her what she needed. But at the same ticket, man, if I'd let her purchase that home or continue to move forward with it, she would have either wasted money and figured out it wasn't worth her moving forward with, or ended up with something that was going to be a nightmare for her. And that sleep at night test, man, I'd be laying awake at night worrying about it. But yeah,
There's
it's
definitely
super important.
more recently, back to your branding, the boots, not suits. For the longest time, I found myself like suggesting, Justin, get yourself a sports coat
Yeah.
and now I realize it's his authenticity that people love. And that should never stray from that. Always maintain that authenticity, be who you are. That's a good thing about our office. You don't have to pretend to be something you're not, for sure. And yeah, it's been cool to see the learning curve for you too, as far as not only with homes and typical real estate transactions, you've branched out into a lot of large acreage tracts of land
Yeah.
and learning the development side of the business, which is something that I've gotten into over the past 5, 6 years, doing some property developing. And I've seen you leaning that direction as well. So you're learning to be a more versatile agent. So
Yeah.
I know investment properties extremely well.
Yeah.
You're learning development very well. And you always, not always, but your bread and butter from the start was buyer and seller representation
Yeah.
of just like your typical home, typical single family home. But now that's evolved to where you've learned investment properties and land. Touch on that a little bit.
Man, I tell you, it's super funny. If you had told me when I was in high school that my job would have consisted of trying to figure out what a capitalization rate of a 15 unit apartment complex in Greenville, that would have seemed like the most obtuse thing to me on the planet. I hated math class. I was the worst at it. It bored me. It put me to sleep. I was a kid who always, thank goodness I was good at football, or else they would have kicked me out of math class all the time. Just wake up.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think it's that side of the application of it it didn't make sense to me until it started. Hey man, is this something that is good for my family to move forward for? I'm trying to build generational wealth for my family for 4 or 5 generations down the road. Is this something that I should do? And having someone with that level of investment coming to you and being like, hey, you're my advisor here. Tell me, does this make sense? Would you buy this? And man, I fell in love with that side of it.
Yeah.
Also, it simplifies a lot of it too, man. Like a lot of people walk away from houses that probably could be fixed with a conversation. Like for instance, when you get into commercial property, a lot of times it's, hey man, I'm not going to cull this location because I don't like the countertops. I'm going to figure out what it takes to fix the countertops and negotiate it back out.
Yep.
So that side of it's really opened up to me too. And I think that's one of the strengths that I have, even in residential sellers and buyers, is really understanding what the value brings from changing those and also what the cost of those things are. I also just being able to work with a lot of builders like Great Southern, who they've been fantastic learning experience and just a great business model. And then like Oak and Stone Development, working with different types of builders and understanding what those products cost and understanding what the construction costs too. Eventually, I want to get more into that side of it and maybe get a contractor's license and start building homes in the future too. So that's one of those. I love all parts of it, man.
Yeah.
I remember us putting together some proposals for builders that a couple of them didn't work out, but I remember us being like the mad scientists trying to figure it all out. But it was so fun. But yeah, if you'd told me 18 years ago, this is what I'd be thinking about, I thought you were crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been fun to be a part of it.
That's the beauty of the business also, is that for a solid 20 years, I was out showing buyers and listing homes. And after 20 years, it gets a little less exciting than it was. I will say I never get up and I've never been like, God, I hate going to work. Yeah. I've never been like that in real estate, but I will say that there's so many different aspects of the business that if you want to branch out and try something new, learn something new, you certainly can. And that's the development side of things just kind of reignited that spark in me, rekindled that fire in my belly, if you will.
Yeah.
That just, yeah, really, he got that passion back like it was day one.
Oh yeah. Watching you and Dan working on with Freeman and Martin, watching the projects that you guys have done, and also hearing about the pitfalls that you guys have had along the way, and just the learning. You don't learn anything for free. It's going to cost you money, time, or training. And it's been all three for you guys at times. Right. And, but getting to have that post effect, like recoup of us sitting and talking, like what went wrong? Where could we have done better? And learning from that. It's been super cool to watch. And
Yeah.
I love when I get to see, I keep saying mad scientist, but like that side of it is super. You get to play the, wow, could have figured out this a lot sooner. But yeah, man, and also that part of it too, man. The reason I think I like real estate so much is that there's really good guidelines set out there, but nobody knows the perfect answer for any of this. And so you get to be innovative, you get to be creative throughout this entire process too, man. I know we did the closing percentages based on things. I think we that we had a good percentage of a little bit higher. I think our superpower is problem solving. I think our percentage to close rate was pretty high. And I think a lot of it isn't because we're just that much better. It's just, we're willing to ask the harder questions sometimes when it's a little uncomfortable. Listen, this is where my people are at. Like, we have to have something done. Let's all sit down and sing Kumbaya and figure if we can all move forward. And that's
sometimes just stuff you don't think about. There was what the group of homes that we invested in. That most people would have never taken the shot at with an owner financing offer, and sending an owner financed offer on a package of 9 homes.
Yeah.
And so you go into it thinking, this probably ain't gonna work out. But you just never know the circumstances of the person on the other side of the transaction. There were multiple offers. 2 cash offers.
Over ask.
Like, and mine was owner financed, but for this particular seller's circumstances, that's what worked better for him. He didn't need a large lump sum of cash all at one time. He preferred to take the cash over the course of time and also gain some substantial interest. And we didn't mind paying the interest as long as we were able to do it with owner financing. Because anytime I can avoid using bank, I will.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just so much easier to work directly with an individual, and you don't get all these origination fees and other fees that come along with
jumping through all the hoops.
Oh yeah.
I need the last 28 years of the pennies that you've earned along the way. Like,
explanation for
everything. Nah, like that too. The creative financing side, I hear a lot of this happening with like wholesalers and things like that, which I'm not a huge fan of. The creative financing side is, like I said, there's a lot of ways to make everything work. It's just, there might be 100 solutions and 2 of them are decent. Let's figure out which one is the best one and run at it. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, I would agree that probably our superpower would be problem solving. Yeah, for sure. And something that we've talked about before, if there's any people considering getting into the real estate business or new agents, I think one of the best traits that a person who is in real estate can have is the ability to figure things out on their own.
Yeah.
Be a self-starter, initiate the hunt for the answer yourself versus always relying on people being available.
Yeah.
Because we're very available to our agents. And so sometimes if you're just always there with the answer, I think it can create weaker agents that don't know how to figure things out on their own. To the point of, I've had people call and ask me directions to a house. I'm not seeing Google Maps. It's
do I look like Staples? They no easy button.
Just right. I think people are too quick to hit the easy button if it's so available. And I think if there's one trait that a real estate agent can have is the ability to figure things out on their own. Because we're in a world of technology like never before.
Yeah.
So many answers out there everywhere. You just about can't find a subject. That
doesn't have some information.
And I can remember when I used to work on my own vehicle, I would get so frustrated under the hood, but I used a YouTube video to guide me on how to change the water pump on the old
Oh yeah,
Range
the old
Rover.
Ranger. Yeah. Yep.
One of the only times I've ever thrown a wrench across the yard, but glad nobody caught that one on film. But I got the big old paws, big old banana hands,
Can't fit them anywhere.
and trying to work on a car with the big old banana hands is just not
It
no
never
fun.
works. Yeah.
Results in a wrench getting thrown across the yard.
At least you didn't hit the windshield.
That's right. Yeah.
I 1,000% agree, man. I think there's a certain level of it that you want to be as helpful as you can, but at what point are you really hurting their growth? Like, I remember a lot of what kind of set me up. Like, you were always very available to help, but after that conversation that we had in back streets, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, you're the reason that you're not successful. Like, you are the reason that you're not successful. And I wanted to prove you wrong so bad that I would, if I was working on something, I didn't want to call you until I had exhausted everything I possibly could have thought of.
Yeah.
So then I could say, yeah, I thought of that. Yeah. So I had a chip on my shoulder, and that's why I had to get good at asking those weird questions. Like, hey man, like, I know this is a little outside of the realm.
Yeah.
There was a agent here. I remember I was looking for a home for my client, and they had a home to sell. And I remember he threw this at me. He was like, I tell you what, you guys like this house. You're not sure whether you want to move forward or not. My folks want to move forward. How about we write you an offer to buy our house? This is what we'll give you, the terms. And I was like, it blew up. I was like,
Right.
but I've used that since.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah. He's a local guy, super cool dude. But yeah, I was like, that is the coolest thing that I've heard.
Yeah.
Just thinking outside the box and getting after
yeah.
it. We don't know if this is, we know you looked at this home. You haven't shown, you said you're interested, but you're not pulling the trigger. So we're going to send you an offer and you sign it if you like it.
Hey, that's pretty smart.
Yeah, I was like thinking that way and moving forward with it. I don't think that guy came to that solution by asking someone the solution to the problem.
Absolutely.
I think he thought through it and said, hey, let's do something a little unorthodox.
Yeah.
Definitely legal to do. There's nothing wrong with it. Let's run it. Let's see what they say. And it worked. Like, it worked.
That's a really smart one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I never tried that one, but that's a great idea. Because some people are just so scared of making a mistake that they need someone
To start.
to take that first step for them.
Yep.
Or else they're just not going to take a step at all. They'll paralysis by analysis. So
Yes, that's it. Yes.
Overanalyze.
Overthinking everything, man.
Yeah. Agents struggle with that too. They just so scared to get out and try something and to get out and look dumb.
Yeah.
And I have made a horse's ass of myself, a gracious plenty. Door knocking. Back when I first opened the brokerage, I'd get out there and door knock. My first phone calls, horrendous.
Oh, I don't even want to talk about it.
Horrendous. I was with the Ginn Company way back in the early 2000s as a real estate assistant. And I was unpolished to say the least. And I got on the telephone and I couldn't even form a sentence. I was just stuttered and stammered and my face turns red. And I called a local agent here. I was working in Charleston at the time, but I got so embarrassed. I just hung up the phone. So my manager looks like we got some work to do. That's an understatement of the century right there. But eventually I started doing more and I was required to do 100 calls a day.
Yeah.
So if you do something, you do enough reps of something, you're bound to get pretty decent at it.
Yeah.
And so I live in proof myself. You're living proof of it too.
I remember when I first started, I remember we would sit in the office and we'd have a list of people that had inquired about homes. And you'd say, all right, Justin, call those people. We'd get some no answers, no pickup, but we'd have somebody pick up and I'd be like, just stammering. And you'd have a piece of paper in front of me and you'd be writing as fast as you could and hold it up and be like, say this. Let's talk.
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah, it was so funny. I wish I had some recordings. Because even now, the new agents that we've hired, they listen to me talk to somebody and they're like, oh, Justin, you're the greatest person that this I've ever heard. You're amazing.
Right.
I was like, bro, like 10 years ago, 5 years ago. I know there's definitely been moments when we've been in the car together and I've answered that phone call and you had to just smack me on the shoulder, like, zone in, dude, you're good. But repetition, man, like over and over again. Now it's not a problem. I don't even realize I'm saying what I'm saying a lot of times. It's just the inquisitive side and making sure that, okay, man, the more information that I can get from you, the better I can help you. Be there for a purpose. I hate salespeople. I'm one, but I hate salespeople for the reason they think, oh, if I say this right thing, like, how do I close someone on
Right.
something? I hate that so much.
Yeah.
Dude, if these people, you won't have to close them on anything if you listen to them and you help them find what they need.
Yeah.
You never have to worry about it. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, people ask you, like, what do you say? What's your big closing?
Yeah. What's the hard
I don't
close?
even know,
Yeah.
man. I've never done it. Like, I show up and I say, this fits all the boxes, man. Is this something you think you'd like to move forward with? If not, let's keep cooking. And
You know, that has me thinking like the evolution of an agent.
Yeah.
Because I don't think people know that, you know, me, Joey, who I am now versus when I first started, I don't think that often people on my own team don't realize it wasn't it, I was so unpolished. You were so unpolished.
Yeah.
We all go through those stages, and then you might learn a script and role play, but God forbid somebody actually asks you a question if you're on. I remember that phase of I had a script down, I had it memorized,
Yeah.
and I was calling saying that script, and somebody would ask me a question. I was so focused on saying the script, I didn't have the ability to listen. I couldn't actually listen to what they were saying. I was just so focused on getting the words out that I'd memorized.
Yeah.
And the question would come, I'd be like, deer in the
Oh,
headlight.
yeah.
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Question. Oh no.
Yeah. For that, I definitely remember falling victim to that a lot. Especially like when we have inbound leads coming in. I got to the point where I was rattling off this soliloquy that I had just gotten so good at. And I just keep running it through in my mind. And then I was like, man, why don't these people want to talk to me?
Yeah.
It's because they weren't talking to me. I was talking to them. There was no interaction. It was just me trying to pitch myself as good as I possibly could.
Yeah.
And they immediately thought I was some pompous idiot that didn't care about them. So just, yeah, I think the measure of a really good agent is being able to listen twice as much as they talk. And I talk a ton, so I need to listen a lot.
2 ears, 1 mouth, right?
Yeah, that's it, man.
There's no telling how many times I've been told that. 2
Yeah.
ears, 1 mouth, use
Yeah.
them in proportion. Yeah. So yeah, man, it's been a fun ride, man. It's been fun seeing you evolve as an agent, and I think problem solving is one of our superpowers. But I think your superpower is just authenticity. I think you're one of the most authentic, honest, transparent human beings on the planet, and I think people would be a fool not to trust you. You know what I mean? And so I think that goes a long ways with your customers, and your customers love you. Like when we're out anywhere, I remember when I used to be super active in showings and things like that. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing someone that you had done business with or were doing business with. And a trip to Walmart would be 2 hours every time because you run into people and you talk. And now I go out with Justin. Justin's like the mayor. He's like the unofficial mayor of wherever we go.
Yeah.
But those things don't happen overnight. It comes with time. And so I see you're out and about quite a bit and networking, and I see agents a lot of times these days are so comfortable just hiding behind the computer and just marketing themselves that way, or scared to pick up the phone, but not scared to just do social media. Yeah. I think which don't get me wrong, social media does work.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for just the old face-to-face, belly-to-belly sales.
A little hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
Let's talk.
Yeah.
I love that side of it too, man. And there's a lot of people that can't be outgoing like that. There's a lot of people who can't make things like that happen, or they feel super uncomfortable doing it. I remember when I first started, you were everywhere at all times. You were always out and about. We were always meeting people. And I learned a lot from you doing that too, because I realized also that it's going to come up. It's going to come up. What do you do? Even with new people, it's the number one question they ask you. And I'm going to tell them what I do. And they're going to either say, awesome, bro, and turn back around and finish their beer. Or they're going to say, dude, tell me some more about this area. Like I think it's the best way to do it. And also for people to get an immediate idea of who you are.
Yeah.
You can put my picture on Zillow and I might try to block it because it's not pretty enough. Like that, if you meet me, you're going to understand that I'm who I say I am and I'm authentic about it and I care about you. And I think that's been my biggest thing. Everyone's, oh man, you spend so much time out and about. And I'm like, dude, that's the only way that I like to do it. And also, even if it's not, it doesn't lead to a sales pitch. I met you the same way. I went out and about.
Yeah.
And 90% of the people I know here in South Carolina, I've met the same way. And it's been beautiful, man, and valuable relationships that I've created by just being present.
Yeah. I've had people ask me before, if everything just went away
Yeah.
and you had to start this thing over from scratch in a new town
Yeah.
where you know nobody, what would you do? And for me, it's the same thing I did here. I joined civic organizations.
Yeah.
I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I joined the Rotary Club. I was involved with the Masonic Lodge.
Yeah.
And not, and none of this stuff was just for networking. It was stuff I enjoyed doing. It can get a little, as you get more and more involved, if I could throw one caution out there, I would say if you join these organizations, be active, but they'll, they will allow you to volunteer for as much as you possibly can volunteer for, but you can't volunteer for everything and still have a productive business,
Yeah.
which I found myself doing at one point in time, was just volunteering for everything because I wanted to help. I wanted to be useful.
Yeah.
And it can hinder the growth a little bit if you allow it. But I think if you get involved in these organizations, just don't sit on the sidelines and watch. Get involved, get up there and meet people. They're just as uncomfortable as you are.
Yeah.
For the most part, when it comes to walking up to a stranger and saying hello and exchanging a business card, or these days it's QR codes on phones or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
But I would join civic organizations. If I were to lose it all, start over in a new town, join civic organizations, Chamber, Rotary. I am a member of Masonic Lodge, just any type of networking group. And if there's no networking group that out there that you really enjoy, create your own.
Yeah.
If it's a hobby that
You like cigars?
start a cigar club.
Cigar club. Yeah.
If you like bourbons, have a bourbon club.
Yeah.
Wine, join a wine club, whatever the case may be. But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to go against the grain.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be something that you really enjoy. Also, I would purchase some internet-based leads.
Yeah.
If I started over somewhere, because the one thing with face-to-face communication like that is there's some inconsistency there.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing with face-to-face networking, unless you're like keeping a record of how many people you're meeting every night, and which nobody does.
No.
It's going to be a little up and down, a little up and inconsistent. So that's why I would say also get some internet-based leads.
Yeah.
So you've got a consistent source of leads that you can track and predict the future with.
Yeah.
Really, those two things right there is enough to get up and running pretty dang fast.
And then after you get implanted into the area, it's funny. My father was a painting contractor up in Highlands and Cashers. I knew everybody that I needed to know to start a really great real estate business there.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't do that, because I've learned a lot more having to come to an area that I don't know and knowing nobody and having to meet all the people that I needed to know to have a successful business doing this. But I tell you, man, I think starting from that scratch was the biggest thing that I could have done.
Yeah.
After I would get implanted, if I had to go and say I moved to Charlotte tomorrow, I would do that exact same thing. And then as I got ingrained, the next step I would do is I would start working a lot of business to business relationships. Like everything that you go do is a relationship. Like it could be the guy you get your tires from. Start putting their stuff out on social media.
Absolutely
Like home inspectors, the guy who washes your car, the guy who cuts your grass. Like they all have needs for real estate too. They might have a hard time. Also, I'd say give of your time extremely freely. Advice is always free, and help as many people as you can. A lot of the success I've had is people ask me literally for everything they possibly have going wrong in their house. They're like, dude, my tile's cracked. I'm like, great, here's my tile guy.
You become their Google.
Exactly.
You become their real estate Google, or these days the real estate ChatGPT.
Yeah. That's it, man. I think a lot of that's brought a lot of future business for me too. Investor clientele, people don't trust a lot of people. And I feel if you can build that relationship where you're the one-stop shop and they don't have to, the biggest hurdle to overcome isn't typically the price of the repair or anything like that. Is this going to be someone that I can trust to do a good job? And is not if they have a sexy sign outside on 123 or on 85. It's not that. It's, can someone vouch for this person to come into my house, be safe around my people, and leave and provide good customer service as well?
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing. So that business to business relationship is huge, like inspectors and contractors alike. So
you remember the 4100?
yeah, Jared
James.
James.
That's a great lesson. If you've never heard of the Core 100, look it up.
Yeah.
Research it, find it for yourself. Seek it out for yourself, real estate agents, and learn about the Core 100, because that's Justin's absolutely right on that. You can't help enough people. The more people you help, there's a book also out there called The Go Giver, which is a pretty cool little story about a guy who just helps people along the way. And in return, he's not seeking reciprocation, but it just happens naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. From the time we're children in school, if I gave the kid next to me, "You want my milk?" they almost automatically, "I'll give you my cookie."
Yeah.
You know, it's from the time you're a kid, it's just comes natural to us.
Yep.
If someone gives us something for free, we feels in our nature to give back. So yeah, that was a really good point there. And so Go Giver, Jared James, Core 100, those are both really good, just solid rules to live by in real estate too.
I'll say too, as far as on the growing part of it too, man, I think the next hurdle that you get to, and I'm getting to this point now, is that, like, how do you stay sane when you have so much going on? And for instance, I got to go out of town to hang out with my mom and my brother, and their birthdays are 2 days apart. So
Yeah.
went and hung out with them, but I was constantly getting phone calls, which I'm not complaining about that whatsoever. I'm happy to be there for my people, but also just getting to the point where you have to set aside that time. I know you challenged me along the way. I was definitely the guy that would go out networking. I'd be out till 10. I'd get in bed, decompress. By the time I go to bed, it's midnight.
Yeah.
Hell or high water. I try to get up by 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And so I can just decompress. No one's calling me at 6 a.m. If they are, they better be dying. That it's time to yourself and time to reflect on where you're at as a human being. Like anything to do with your faith, anything to do with any of your routines, man. That's something that was missing for a long time. And I feel like I've gotten a lot better grasp on it. The next thing is to get back in the gym. That's the next big one. But yeah, one step at a time. But I feel a lot better because it can be stressful, man. This is super stressful business. Everyone needs everything from you. But if you're going to be the guy, you got to be the guy or gal, whatever it is, man. You just got to, if you want, you asked for this.
To get what you want.
Right? Yeah. And that's a blessing. It's good to remember a lot of that sometimes too.
Absolutely. I remember the day that I chose to get an assistant. I was out showing property, and generally speaking, when I was out showing, I didn't answer my phone while I was out showing because I didn't want to be disrespectful. And so after an 8-hour day of showing, I come back and look at my phone, there's 75 missed calls. And I'm like, and this is back when people would actually leave a voicemail, and not a text. And so there was probably half of those left voicemails. And so I'm like, my goodness, I'm going to be in the office for 4 more hours just listening to voicemails and returning phone calls. And so I was like, I got to get an assistant. And that was a huge help when it comes to, like you were saying, how overwhelming the business can be. I think it should be a goal of anyone who does this full time. Once the first hire, should be that assistant to take some of that load of the paperwork off of entering the stuff into the MLS, and it'll allow you more time to focus on money making activities.
Yeah. I'll say that side of it, man. You're right. Like, I know you've told me that for a long time, and over the last year and a half, it's happened. And like with Pete, he's one of our agents, newer guy, great dude, one of the best. But he drives us literally everywhere we go. So I get to be on the phone, answering texts, writing contracts. Like he drives us there. We're both on site. If I need to step away for a second to handle something, he jumps right back in. Also, he's getting hands-on training, and he's been at it for a year. And I think that he's just as good as an agent that should be in this business for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Just because he's seen me do this, I think we'll do probably close to 50 transactions this year.
Yeah.
Just he's got to see this 50 times, right? Yeah. That's a crazy amount of reps. And not to mention how many times he gets to hear all these conversations, the tough ones, the good ones, the great ones, the terrible ones. So he gets exposed to all that. I think there's something to that too. I know we had talked about trying to get a program together for all the agents to have a mentor person, because I'm telling you, the productivity level that I had from just not having to drive places for showings and having that second person on site has skyrocketed.
Yeah.
Much like you, I would go show 15 houses in a day to 2 different clients. And then I'd be scrambling to get back to get on my computer. And then I'd say, I'll call you guys in 2 hours. I'll call you guys now and I'll walk you through this contract. We'll set the whole thing up. I'll shoot it out, and then I'll be So I'd wrap up at 11. Now I'm wrapping up at 6
Yep.
and or 7, and then I can go have dinner, go meet more people, and start this process all over again. I think it's been the biggest game changer for me. It costs money, but man, time is so valuable. I've doubled my productivity just by adding that one piece. And now I've got someone running a lot of the marketing stuff for me. She's awesome. Her name's T. Does a great job. She's doing a lot of mailers and running Instagram for me and all the threads, all that good stuff, which is new for me. I haven't really branched out into the social media side much. I'm excited to see how it's going to turn up here in the next couple months. But
Yeah. The noticeable change. I've noticed
yeah,
definitely been a noticeable change. So that's part of the beauty of this thing is that it's ever evolving.
Yeah.
You're never going to have it perfected.
Yeah.
It's like the never ending riddle.
Yeah.
The never ending riddle to solve. And I can tell you from going to conferences in a variety of different places throughout my career, nobody's got it figured out.
Yeah.
Not a soul has the whole thing figured out. There's some people that are pretty darn good at it and have some pretty good systems in place. We have some extremely good systems in place. Probably some of the best. And we still don't have it figured out. And the minute you think you do, something else changes.
Oh man, I know. Like over the last couple of years, just with the lawsuit that have LLR lawsuit and the NAR, sorry, and then all the forms changes, and everyone thought I was falling for. Oh man, what buyers agents are going out of style. I can't speak to a lot of that. All I know is that I'm going to be here tomorrow and still doing what I'm doing because a lot of people don't have you can replace us with Chat GPT or whatever it is, but it takes a lot for someone to trust you to advise them how to spend $500,000 or $200,000 or $100,000. It's a huge investment, man. And unless you have someone that is going to pick up the phone and be accountable, I'm probably not making that move either. I know stuff that we invest in together, man, there's a lot of times like you'll call me and be like, dude, are we crazy? Is this stupid? Or, and we bounce it back and forth until we figure out if it's, hey man, let's call that one. Let's roll. That's a good one.
I think that AI has been definitely a game changer for the industry. I think a quote that I heard was the agents that embrace AI. Will AI eliminate real estate agents? No, probably not. The ones that choose not to embrace it, not to value it, not to utilize it, probably will eliminate themselves by not having it. So I can't remember exactly the quote, but it was something similar, similar to that.
Yeah.
But basically saying that the agents that utilize it to help them be more productive, just are going to be the ones that excel.
And like, I know in your heyday when you were a solo agent and you were doing 60 or 70 transactions in a year, which is nuts. Like that, I couldn't imagine.
That's crazy.
50 sounds nuts to me. And I've got plenty of help, but now it's not uncommon for people doing 100 to 200 transactions a year as an agent. And it's because they're utilizing the assistant, the software that we have with the CRMs, like Dotloop, all those things too. And also with the AI, man, like productivity is everything. If I can have a better 10 hours than you, I'm going to do better than you.
Absolutely.
If more people know who I am and trust me, and I can have a better 10 hours a day than you, or 12 hours a day, whatever it is that you put in, right?
Yeah.
Like, then I'm going to win.
You don't even have to put notes into the system anymore. Like
take it.
Yeah. It's the CRM, the follow-up off CRM that we have. And I'm sure there's plenty of other ones that do that. When you're having a conversation with somebody, that conversation is transcribed in the notes in your CRM. So that's the time saved there. Just that one thing. Yeah. The time saved.
2 or 3 minutes of time.
Yeah.
Just trying to put those notes in. But yeah, I don't know, man. I feel confident that there's always going to be a need for the trust level that we build with people, man. I really do.
Yeah.
It'd be hard for me to purchase anything without someone that's an expert. You don't go and say, you know what, I'm going to trust that this guy that says he knows how to fix my car is going to fix my car. I'm probably going to talk to the guy that I've seen do it 150 times.
Yeah.
At least talk to him.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of changing things, but we'll weather whatever it is and keep moving, man.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Justin, per the usual, it's always a pleasure talking with you, man. I'm glad we got the chance to do this, and I hope it gives the listeners an opportunity to kind of just, there's no script here. This is unscripted. We're just kind of shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
And I hope it gives the listeners a chance to get to know you better.
Yeah.
Get to know me better, just to get a better feel for our company and just how we do business in general.
Yeah, man.
Just authenticity, transparency, no
BS, man.
no BS, no gimmicks or
Yeah.
tricks or anything like that. It's honestly a pretty tough business people have to work hard to make it sleazy.
Yeah.
Because there's so many rules and regulations.
Yeah.
You really have to be working hard to get one over on somebody.
Yeah. That's it.
So, but it happens every day.
It does.
It
Yeah.
happens every day.
We see it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But, yeah, man. Any
Heck yeah,
last
brother.
words you got?
No, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate everything you taught me along the way and the mentorship. And I appreciate you having me on the podcast, man. I'm loving it. I love the other guests that you have. I'm proud to be in there with guys like Jurgen and everybody you've been interviewing, bro. So I sure do appreciate the opportunity. So this is super cool, man. Thank you.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you come on. That's it for actually, Justin. Tell the listeners how they can find you.
Oh yeah, you can check me out. You can call my phone number 828-421-2734. So it's the same one I've had for 20 years. Also, you can look me up on Instagram at Boots Not Suits, and then Facebook, Justin Tank Smith. Yeah, man, holler at me. Feel free if you have any questions for me. You want to talk more about real estate, or just, hey man, you're thinking about getting into real estate, man. I can help you avoid a lot of the time and pitfall that I fell into. Yeah, give me a shout at any time. And once again, thanks everybody for listening, and thanks for having me.
That's it for this episode of Home Brew. If it resonated with you or gave you a fresh perspective, share it with someone else who's working hard to make their mark. Subscribe, stay curious, and remember, no matter the challenge, keep pushing forward because success is brewed one step at a time. We'll see you next time. Same place, new story.